All right, y'all. So three trades today. I mean, well, one major like real trade, which was the first trade that I took on live, and then these two trades that I typed out were smaller size. I had four contracts here. I had another four contracts here, and mind you, those contracts costed like $50 each. So I lost like $70 here. I lost like $60 here, and then here I had 20 contracts, and at that point they costed like $130. So yeah, on this trade where I took my trim, I made like 1,000 on it. Obviously, I trimmed 18 left too, so those runners went to break even, and I ended up making like 900. Right. So I'm not gonna go from green to red on the day. So obviously that's why I was super light on these. I'll get into how that plays with your psychology and stuff later too. But yeah, let's go into why I took this trade. Um, I can explain why I took those two, but the main thing is the main thing. This is the main trade that I took today. So, let's go into the higher time frame. So here's the higher time frame, right? So on the higher time frame, we are clearly bullish. Like, let's be real. Higher time frame is bullish. But let's go down to a 30 minute and you'll see where we were opening up. Market was opening up around, hold on, let's point out this gap because that was the gap that I used. But let's go to five. So market was opening up around here, which was 30,200, right? And if you look at the structure, we are in a downtrend on the lower time frame. This is internal structure, right? We're on a downtrend on the internal. Okay. We have London low right here, which is what I use for my liquidity sweep. Pre-market analysis, I said I want to see price push up to Asia high and London low for a sweep to take shorts back down to the new week opening gap because we hadn't tapped into the gap yet before market up. We still hadn't tapped into the gap yet. So that's what I wanted to see happen. Overall, um, what's it called? Overall, yes, the higher time frame is still bullish, right? But you have to play using internal structure on the lower time frame too, right? So this is what we had coming into the market open. Um, yeah, so we had our there was a 30-minute gap. There was a 30-minute. There was a liquidity sweep at London high. We had standard deviation right here. We hadn't tapped into the -2 yet, so I knew there was still room to go, right? We hadn't tapped into the -2s yet, so there was still room to go. What else? What else do I look for? OTE, right? Let's see. Um, from that high there to this low pre-market, right? What do you see? This is your pre-market right there. We see the midpoint right there lines up right with London low and right inside this 30-minute imbalance, right? So, yeah, so we had OTE as well. What else? I think this is really all I looked for today. Obviously my target, which was my draw on liquidity. Um, yeah, this is pretty much what I looked for today. Once we got that bounce, then I started to look for my entry, right? And if I would have waited for us to get down here for a 1 minute inversion, you could have taken that, right? But that would have made your stop loss a lot larger than what I'm comfortable risking. So what I waited for was a 1 minute OTE. So we got this 1 minute OTE bounce right there. And I took my entry. Look, we didn't even get to the 706, but I still took it. I took it right after we hit the midpoint. It was around like 836, I think. Let's see. Yeah, at 9:30. So 836 is when I took that entry on options. And yeah, we got 40% out of this. Quick 40% too. Took that trim. And then, yeah, if you look on futures, we never tapped into the gap. But I see 40% on options, I'm taking it. Like, especially because of how zero DTE contracts decay, I got to take that. So yeah, I took that. Runners went to break even. Eventually, we did tap into the gap, so futures would have never hit stop loss. And yeah, eventually we got the bounce. This is what I was looking for, but this whole bounce, this whole move, I wasn't watching the charts anymore. I got off after we took the low here. I expected us to get a higher low here and then go. But what ended up happening was we swept that low again, then went. So once we took out this low here, that's when I closed my chart. So I missed this whole move. And yeah, the move ran all the way up into previous day's high. Then I took an early entry. This I took an early entry here. This entry here was early because I knew we had to pull back, but we bounced this 5 minute gap here. So I was like, you know what? We might hold that 5 minutes. So let's take this. It was a triple bottom on the 1 minute. Yeah, we had this triple bottom on the 1 minute. So I took that. Ended up getting stopped instantly for 35%. And then on the second entry, I took this. Where we at? Second entry, I took this 15 minute gap bounce, which also had OTE in it, right? Yeah, midpoint, 15 minutes. So once we got that 1 minute inversion, well, I front ran the 1 minute. Not gonna lie, I got in a little before the 1 minute, but we ended up getting it, and we still ended up flushing through. So that what's it called? The reason for that, now that I can see it in hindsight, was because there was a sorry, there's a 1 hour that got rejected. We rejected that 1 hour. Tapped into. Pretty sure we tapped into a higher time frame OTE. Yeah, tapped into 706 on the higher time frame. So yeah, clear as day why we rejected that, and we ended up getting the full gap fill now. So, shorts played out there. I'm not mad at my longs. The attempt at longs right there. Again, I was super light because I'm not going to go from green to red on the day. Okay, so um, the reason for that is because going from green to red on the day, eventually you're gonna want to try and go back to green again, and that's how you get to having that revenge trading mentality. So that's why I was super light on these two trades. Never will I ever go from green to red, especially when I'm that green. I was up 900, so I took two small losses here, so I closed like 700, done for the day. Um, but yeah, this was the main trade. Drawing liquidity was that the week opening gap, and yeah, ended up getting filled. Lower high there, blah blah blah. So yeah, we'll be trading live for the rest of the week, except for Thursday. We'll be trying to post these recaps continuously, and yeah, hopefully this made sense to y'all. And yeah, on to the next.